Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, back from Liverpool, comments on Liverpool 2, Real Madrid 0 on Movistar. You have the video, of course, from Anfield right after the match ended. You also have the video of the notes from Liverpool. And we are going to do this Wyscout report that I promised you, which many of you have asked for, regarding the reasons. Now with the Wyscout report and with many details, it has captured some snapshots of what the match was, some details of what Real Madrid tried, what did not work for Real Madrid, what Liverpool did, which clearly improved and ended up being very superior, especially that pressure at the start of the second half. Let's analyze it, but first of all, you already know that every Monday we have the Despejados program with Alexis, Mr. Chip, and Sarah Jimenez at 10 p.m. Here on your channel. And you also know that this program is made possible thanks to our friends at Fivers, which is the great social network for football fans. I, of course, have my profile on Fivers Ascend. I invite you to check out my profile. I invite you to visit the page, to create your own profile, of course, on Fivers, which is truly amazing. It is a real wonder. So I leave you the link in the description so you can see absolutely everything that Fivers means, what Fivers is, because we are enjoying it a lot. With Fivers and with that Despejados program, where we analyze football in depth. How are we going to do this? In this video, of course, we are going to talk about Luka Modric, about Real Madrid, about Kylian Mbappe, 2009, about Liverpool, and much more. Come on, let's go. Well, here we go, friends of Mundo Maldini. This is one of the first chances of the match with that shot saved by Courtois, who was the man of the match for Real Madrid, because without Courtois, it would surely have been a rout. It is also true that no one knows what would have happened if Kylian Mbappe had scored that penalty. But the reality is that Liverpool was much superior, and was much superior because they felt much superior. They were much superior because they felt much superior. And there is a moment in the second half, the first half, where Real Madrid planned a match to avoid much rhythm, a match aware that Liverpool would do a lot of damage in the back and forth. They could do a lot of damage. This was Real Madrid in the first half. The team tightly organized at the back, trying to have long possessions, which they had at times with Luka Modric, keeping the pace of the match low. It was a truly tactical battle between Ancelotti and Slot, and in the end, logically, Liverpool felt superior. We'll see exactly why later. But well, this was Madrid with Valverde as right back, Asensio, Rudiger as centre backs, and Mendy on the left. And then two lines of four, and up with Mbappe and Brahim Diaz. Logically, the intention was to keep the pace low, which was achieved in the first half. It is true, it was achieved in the first half to keep the pace low and for Madrid to counter with Kylian Mbappe. But Kylian Mbappe definitely did not have his night. It is evident that Kylian Mbappe had a terrible night in every sense. Here we have Liverpool again taking the initiative. But it is true that when Liverpool dominated, Madrid was well positioned at the back, causing little damage, and on the wings, neither Luis Diaz nor Mohamed Salah were getting much through. Later, we will see some more details with the Wyscout report and look at specific players. But there is a moment, friends of Mundo Maldini, there is a moment when Liverpool feels very superior. They feel very superior in the second half. You can tell at the start of the second half. I believe this man, Slot, surely had a talk in the locker room during halftime and told them, look, Liverpool is superior. They are better. Madrid is not doing well. Madrid was like a flan at many moments as well. And Liverpool came out much more aggressive in the second half, much more aggressive than in the first half. And from there is when Liverpool really unleashes. It unleashes many ways. Here we have Darwin Núñez, who also did not have his day, fortunately for Real Madrid, because otherwise it would have been much worse. It unleashes and goes much higher to press. And the first minutes of the second half were truly a match in which Liverpool tears apart Real Madrid. I would say they crush Real Madrid with that high pressure. And here you have it. This is an example with AT arriving, MacAllister arriving, waiting for Salah over here. Notice where Gravenberch is. This is the midfielder who had a great match, by the way. Notice where Gravenberch is and where Bradley is, whom I will talk about later. This was Liverpool at the start of the second half. And then at the end, logically, they ended up sinking Real Madrid because Madrid was sunk in the second half, losing balls permanently. I mentioned it during the broadcast. These are the worst moments for Real Madrid, this start of the second half. Madrid kept sinking. Liverpool was sinking them with that pressure, and notice. The first goal, Madrid practically trapped in the area, on the edge of the area, Arguler, Abraham, here we have Camavinga. This is Jude Bellingham, and notice, inside the area is Luka Modric, along with the four defenders. This is how the goal arrives with right-back Bradley. Notice where Bradley is, notice where the right-back is. He is the one who gives the pass in that wall to MacAllister, and MacAllister ends up shooting practically from the penalty spot. That is to say, this was the first goal, and Madrid was absolutely sunk. They had no way out at all. And that is where Liverpool started to make a big difference. That is the reality. That is the reality. In the second half is when Liverpool really, especially those first minutes that define the match, are what truly make the difference. Madrid arrived very little. Madrid only shot on target when the match was really alive. Then there was a shot very late from a very easy shot by Lucas Vázquez, the penalty from Kylian Mbappe. Here we have the moment when Kylian Mbappe misses the penalty. And logically, Madrid managed the first half relatively well. Yet at halftime, Liverpool was winning. That is the reality. But at no point could Real Madrid find themselves in attack. They did not find themselves at any moment. Jude Bellingham participated a little more, but the reality is that Madrid was very inferior. They were very inferior. I want to talk about Bradley, but before talking about Bradley, I want us to see something that I think is important and that I like us to always look at, which is ball circulation. Look at Liverpool. This is Liverpool's ball circulation, which is something I always like to show you with the friends from Wyscout. Here we are already in Wyscout. Logically, they didn't have much play on the wings because Madrid did give the wings to Liverpool. A little more Salah, very little Luis Diaz who went inside. But here we have the ball circulation with MacAllister spectacular, with Gravenberch spectacular, and with Bradley constantly arriving in attack. That is what it was. Here we have Connor Bradley. Look at how big the circle is, because Connor Bradley participates a lot in the game. He participated a lot, and that is what ultimately matters. Look at Real Madrid's circulation. Look at the lines, how thick they are, because there is a lot of passing circulation in Liverpool. I want to insist on this. Look at how thick the lines are due to the passing circulation in Liverpool in many areas. And look at how thin, how fine the lines of Real Madrid are, because they practically had no passing circulation. It's just that Madrid had no passing circulation. We have to say things as they are. Madrid played like a small team against Liverpool at Anfield, and they shouldn't have. What was the only plan, perhaps? Even without Vinicius that could hurt in space? Well, I don't know. I certainly didn't like anything that Ancelotti said after the match. What Ancelotti said after the match, that he liked the team, that they had competed well, I cannot agree. I cannot agree. A team that shoots once on target from a penalty when the match is tied at 2-0, there were a couple more plays. I cannot agree. It is impossible to agree with that. It is impossible to agree with that. And if we look at some players, friends of the Maldini world, there were some players who did reach a fairly good level for what the team was. For example, Jude Bellingham, for example, Brahim, are players who reached a good level. Camavinga was having a great game until he got injured, which is true that Real Madrid was unlucky in that as well. But the reality is that Liverpool overwhelmed them in the second half. That is a reality. Liverpool overwhelmed them, realizing they were superior, pushing the fullbacks much higher. Look at what Connor Bradley does. Look at what Connor Bradley, the right back, does. How he arrives in the area from inside, which I quickly noticed and commented on during the broadcast. Look at this play, for example. Long ball. Look, Connor Bradley is the one fighting with Rudiger. This is Connor Bradley who is fighting with Rudiger. A long ball that comes from MacAllister. And then logically playing from inside, Bradley, you have already seen the pass he made for the goal. And for example, in this play, look at Bradley's movement off the ball from the side to make space inside. And look, this is the movement of the ball inside. And the play, you will remember, ends with a cross from MacAllister. A shot from Bradley that Courtois saves brilliantly. Here we have it. This is the play, the movement of the ball inside. You can see it clearly. And then the header that Thibaut Courtois saves, which was practically the prelude to the first goal because the play continues. Liverpool recovers the ball for the umpteenth time during Madrid's build-up, and Alexis MacAllister scores 1-0. Overwhelming superiority of Liverpool in many phases of the match. I think the reality is what it is. And let's look at some details to finish, some details about certain players from both Real Madrid and Liverpool. We have seen what Kylian Mbappe did. Let's get into Kylian Mbappe. Friends of Mundo Maldini, regarding his performance in the match. Because you will really see it. Look at Kylian Mbappe's involvement. It was very little, really. 2 shots, 1 on target. He attempted 4 dribbles out of 7, had some good runs. But look at his involvement. Very little near the area. In the first half, he loses all the actions, and in the second half, he wins a few in the area. But Kylian Mbappe's contribution is very little. If we compare this with the Liverpool players, it's tremendous. Bradley, as a fullback, look at the difference in offensive weight. Bradley had much more offensive weight than Mbappe. That's a reality. 76 actions, 78% successful. All 3 dribbles he attempted were successful. he provided an assist. 56% passing accuracy, and look at everything he generated in the first half. This is very important, because I insist we quickly noticed it from the stadium. It is very clear how in the second half he started to play more centrally. This is indeed an exact maneuver by Slot. He told him in the second half to go inside because he was causing a lot of damage. And in the first half, he was much more stuck to the right side. But in the second half, he constantly moved inside. That's what Bradley did. Then there are Liverpool players who were at a truly extraordinary level. Gravenberch's performance was the exact definition of a box-to-box midfielder. 93 actions, 78% correct, 94% passing accuracy, and look at all the actions he takes where he moves. Gravenberch, tremendous. Between Gravenberch, Verch, and MacAllister, they dominate the midfield of Real Madrid. Look at MacAllister. 83 actions, 76% correct, 91% passing accuracy. Socios in a match of this intensity is incredible. And especially look at the second half. Omnipresent in the three-quarter zone. Absolutely omnipresent. In short, it was a match in which Liverpool was very superior. Very superior. Liverpool had a clear victory. It was a narrow victory for what it could have been because the best player for Madrid was Thibaut Courtois. And to finish, let's look at those cold data that I mentioned, but which are very significant and regarding shots, attempts, and average positions. Let's first look at the average positions of both teams, which you will see here. Average positions. Liverpool, look, positioned in the opponent's half. Although not too close to the area, but positioned in the opponent's half. Real Madrid, much further back. Look where Rudiger is. Rudiger's average position is practically on the edge of the area, slightly advanced. And then, if we talk a bit about what it is, for example, regarding ball possession, you will see it clearly here. That is the position of the ball. Look, Real Madrid is the black line. Liverpool is the red line throughout the match. There was not a single moment in the match where Madrid had more possession in segments of the game than Liverpool. There are moments when it was a bit equal, which is at the end of the first half, but all the time more possession and more passing accuracy. Really? Of course, more offensive actions per minute, and that Madrid had very few options. And this, the PPDA that I always tell you about, you have it here on the right. Look at what the poses allowed per defensive action are. Madrid did not press very well in the first 30 minutes. Horrible. Liverpool was always pressing much better. There is the key. Friends of Mundo Maldini. There are some of the keys to the match. I think it was a huge difference, especially when the match was alive, which is in moments of the second half. In the end, Gaku's goal came. Here we have it, the 2-0, and the match was completely decided. Hug. Bye, 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 bye.